want to take a different perspective of this. I always wish that there were some kind of fellowship program for capitalists to actually help filter how they understand social conditions. Right? Because I feel that what oftentimes happens is that people kind of understand the world, obviously, as I do, and as everyone else in this room, from their own kind of vantage point of personality. And so I always wonder, so what does it mean when the hyper-wealthy say they want to end poverty? Like, that's a big contradiction, like what does poverty look like for Native Americans versus where you are? And I'm always curious to kind of figure out, like, God, I wish the sector could really have some kind of, like, I don't know, social justice therapist. Someone to say, well, I'm glad you actually have this wealth, but, here are a menu of options that you can employ. Because I feel like oftentimes the energy around Matrix really comes from the fact that they're trying to connect to the personality of the funder, right? So if you were to have a conversation, I believe this is true, and I've worked with him for years, with Soros about Matrix and his social justice giving, I don't think he would really know what the hell you were talking about, to be very frank. I think that, and he's always been very stark about, like, the Soros fund management space versus the Open Society Institute space. And I've always appreciated that kind of sharpness, and that's a very strange philanthropic space to be in. But nevertheless, I do feel that what has happened is that there's a certain added weight from actually having a business or a capitalist framework that I think has become more hierarchical, that people kind of naturally kind of think of as a better analysis, and I don't think it's true. So I think it's conventional, I think it's easy, and I completely understand it, and I also feel like a lot of I'm telling too much, but I feel like a lot of evaluation is just, I think it's really art, not science. I think a lot of Matrix, I could sell you the best whatever you want, and kind of make it sound like anything. But I'm always trying to, where my work is actually taking me is in a deeper place around systemic change. So when you start talking about poverty, so let's go a little deeper. What creates poverty? Are those conditions? Is there a fair labor market? Is everyone given equal access to participate in the democracy? Is this an East Coast, West Coast thing? Is this a generational thing? Is this a gender thing?